All right, what's up, everybody? This is Jason and Dakota here with AwkRad, and we're representing our Universal Core Spice Blend today. And we have a guest, and I'll let him introduce himself. But he does have a barbecue sauce company, family run, that's not too far from us. So we just thought we would kind of put our heads together, ask some questions, and kind of see how things are going for you guys. So go ahead. Why don't you introduce yourselves and then we'll get into it.
Well, thanks for having us. I'm Jerry Karns. We have legendary super sauce, and I've got my son Liam here. Liam is 10 years old. Last fall, he was the employee of the month because he was selling like crazy at vendor shows, and like for 10 years old, like he knows the business, and that's the best part of a family-run business is you get to involve your kids and do that stuff, kind of like what you're doing. So yeah, legendary super sauce made right in Bath, New York. Um, Family run is that's what it is. So like it's awesome.
Nice. Nice. So yeah, so I we talked a little bit before we started recording about our journey being somewhat similar in that we're trying to launch a spice blend, and I was just kind of curious, like, how are you guys manufacturing your product? Are you shipping? Are you using FBA or anything like that? Or are you just all in house?
Well, we have a commercial kitchen, and we produce everything on site. We make it, bottle it, label it. All the labels are produced here, shrink wrap everything, and then the marketing and distributing and all of that is here. I probably do 95% of the work. My wife helps with some of the back end stuff with like building a website and the social media aspect of it. And then all hands on deck when it comes to vendor shows and stuff like that. It's really cool to watch, Liam and my daughter Emma also helps out with that stuff. My daughter Aria is only 4. She tries her best, but she's 4. But like her cuteness gets her to sell stuff. But like at vendor shows, it's all hands on deck with the family. So it's very cool to just kind of step back and watch, the family come together and bring everything like that. So it's very cool to have that experience.
Nice. So you're doing everything soup to nuts, right? You're
Oh yeah.
sourcing the ingredients, you're
Yep.
prepping the batch, the recipe, bottling, sealing,
Yep.
stocking, and then what do you think the majority of your business is? It online or mostly from the shows?
Right now, the majority is wholesale. We're
Okay.
in, I think I'd have to count again, but right around 20 stores, in 2 states. So like we have stores in New York, we have a couple stores in Pennsylvania, like down around Mansfield area. But yeah, we go, locally in Bath, obviously, from Bath and making it in Bath and having Bath stores, that's very popular here. But we go as far as Trumansburg, like over by Ithaca, down to Mansfield, and I think Wayland is the farthest we go the opposite way. So it's been cool to kind of see that circle grow. And I found like the fastest way to get where you want to go is slowly. So what we did was you got the product, got people tasting it, and then we got one store. I was like, okay, can I keep this store stocked? I'm like, yep. All right, let's add another one. Can I keep them stocked? Then we had another one. And then like that's grown to like I said, right around 20 stores. We have a few restaurants that use it. Like Butcher Son in Corning, they just won Burger of the Year for all of New York State. And they used my original barbecue on their burger that won the whole contest for the entire state. So that's really stepped that up with a lot of the wholesaling to restaurants and caterers and things like that. Like there's places that use it for wing night and they're selling out every week. And then just overall catering is using it too and having a lot of success with it. So I've really shifted this year, especially to maintaining that wholesale with doing like the bigger jugs, like gallons and half gallons and things like that.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah. Are you shipping nationwide, or are you shipping right in the state, or how's that working?
So far, I'm up to 29 states. I ship maybe 3 or 4 times a month. I mean, it's not like it's shipping. I have the website, and shipping is not like a huge part of the business, but it's kind of cool. I have a little map where I put a pin in every time I ship it to a different state, just so I can keep track. And it's just kind of neat to look up and go, "Holy cow!" Like shipping to Hawaii, that was neat. And then Some people have told me they've shipped it themselves to other places, like Caribbean countries and things like that, and overseas. But I haven't done that yet. But I know that it's taken off that way. So that it's kind of neat to know that my sauce is getting around the country, definitely, but it's starting to get around the world even.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Nice. So we we kind of were trying to figure out like how to break into that show market a little bit, and how we're gonna like get it out there. We started with the Facebook and YouTube and our friends and family and extensions of that, and that's kind of where it started. Now I'm just curious. I know a little bit of history about your company. How much are you willing to share on how you started and what the origin story is?
I'll share the whole thing. The legendary super sauce started out as Leachy's super sauce. Dave Leach was the founder of this. He actually just passed away, about a week or so ago. So, um, a great man, great product. I remembered it, and um, the story that he told everybody about this. So it's I'm not, divulging any secrets. He was doing it out of his garage and like bottling it, out of a 5 gallon bucket, and it had this cult following, me included, that it was delicious,
Me
and I
included.
remember it. Yeah, it was so good. And then his homeowner's insurance found out that he was doing it in his garage. They said, you're not going to do that anymore. So he tried a couple different avenues. He couldn't find like the anything that fit. So he said, you know what? I guess it's not meant to be. And he walked away. And then fast forward a few years, we're in the middle of a pandemic, and I have a DJ business. I've been doing that for 30 years, and like it's been very consistent. Well, all of a sudden it was COVID and the whole world shut down. So, I was supposed to do 28 weddings that year, and I ended up doing 11, which is a huge hit. And I said, well, I need to find something else, and it just happened to be Leachy posted a video of some food that he cooked in his smoker, and I said, hey, now just need some lychee sauce. And he's like, I ain't doing that. Well, a whole bunch of people commented it, and then my light bulb went off, and I said, hey, what's it going to take for me to bring it back if you're not going to do it? So we sat down and we talked, and he was so instrumental in helping me get started, because I think he liked the fact that the legacy was going to live on. And it was lychee super sauce. I'm not lychee. Nobody was lychee. If you knew him, that is 100% accurate, that he was one of a kind.
Yep.
And I wasn't going to try to duplicate him. So instead of lychee super sauce, it's the legendary super sauce everyone remembered. So we brought it back. We did make a few changes, and had I known that New York State was going to be the lovely state that it is to try to run a business in, I might have changed my mind, but I didn't find that stuff out until after we had started, because a lot of the stuff that he did, we can't do anymore. Like he would get local peppers. I have to have certified pathogen free peppers, which is great because that means I'm using the very best ingredients that you can get. But to get certified pathogen free, you can't go to Farmer Joe down the road and say, hey, give me, 8 bushels of habanero peppers. I have to outsource them from Arizona, is where my peppers come from. And then, all the spices that I get, like I said, they have to have that certification. My inspectors from the Department of Ag and Markets comes in, and they painstakingly go through all my records to make sure every batch number for every batch of spice had all the certifications, and all like it's all pathogen free. And then the mustard sauces that I make, it's a 6-day process, where he used to make it in a 5 gallon bucket and dump it into bottles, where now I have to pasteurize it for 6 days, and I had to come up with a system for that. So New York State is not pleasant for business, but if you have that, wherewithal to stick it out, like, all right, I guess I'll jump through this hoop now. And now we've kind of hit our stride, and they leave us alone a little bit, because for a while it was 3 times a year I was getting inspected. They would come in, and I mean, my tiny little kitchen, tiny little shop, it would take 2.5 hours for an inspection where they nitpick every little detail. Well, 2.5, almost 3 years of perfect scores on my inspection. They said you qualified to get once a year. So now I'm inspected once a year, and they come in with a surprise inspection, and that'll continue as long as I'm doing what I'm doing. But yeah, the process, I started with lychee. This was his brainchild. I have expanded a little bit since I took it over. I added some new flavors, like the root beer barbecue, smoked chipotle lime. Those are two that weren't in the original game plan, and even a little bit of a variation from the original because I got the recipes from him, but when it says this many grams of hot pepper powder, he didn't tell me his signature pepper powder blend, so I had to come up with my own a little bit. So there might be a little slight variation there, but I think we're pretty close to the original, and I hope that and I think he was pretty proud that his legacy is going to continue on. So I was happy to be able to carry that on for him.
Yeah, carries so much more meaning knowing that he recently passed, right? I mean,
Oh yeah,
he's a real true local legend, and I remember back in the days at the fireside and
right,
him being a bouncer
yeah,
and
and,
yeah, the sweet heat barbecue sauce, he kind of paved the way for that.
mm-hmm.
So that's really wild, man. It's that, and I'm glad you're doing good with it. And
Yeah,
yeah,
it's
it's
been
awesome.
taken off, and I know like he'd call me up every once in a while. I was like, all right, I need 2 bottles of that mustard. I was like, all right, you know how to make it, like, but all right, so he'd get it from me. So that was the coolest tribute ever for me, or the biggest honor. The guy that started it was getting the bottles for me.
That's
You
awesome.
know, but
That's
yeah,
awesome. Nice. Now, um, I'll get back to the operations just because I'm curious how how much time, like, is this like a 40-hour week thing? Is this like a 20-hour week thing? An 80-hour week thing? How much time are you spending actually in this project?
I um I have a saying that's that it's hung up on my wall. It says no 0 days, and I do that for both businesses. But this one especially, no 0 days. Like 7 days a week I'm working on the business. That doesn't mean I'm in my shop every day. I make sauce pretty close to every day, but it depends on like the volume. Like this coming weekend there's a charity golf tournament where they wanted 140 custom bottles for this golf tournament, and so that took a little bit of extra time. We had to make sure that we're getting all of that done with the deadlines. And if like 4th of July weekend, like just the tops in Bath sold 8 cases of sauce in 5 days. So like that's a more of a production day. In the winter, it might be every 2 or 3 days. So it kind of varies. But if I'm not doing that, then as any person with a small business knows, you got to spend time on social media and making stupid videos and making this meme and this, whatever. And that's as time consuming as it is making the sauce. I think. So like there's no 0 days. Sometimes that means I'm sitting at my computer for 2 hours making social media posts. Some days that means I'm spending 6 hours, making and bottling sauce. Some days it means various things, or some days it's a delivery day. Like I coordinate deliveries, with like supply pickups and say, hey, I'm going to be in your area on Thursday. What can I bring you? And I coordinate with the stores in that area. So it just to maximize my time. But some days I'm just on the road delivering because um, other than the vendor shows, which we want to get Liam talking a little bit here too, but like other than that, I mean, I'm pretty much a one-man show. So, I have designated days that I go do deliveries, designated days that I make sauce, designated social media days. But overall, I don't know if I could put an actual time on it, but this part-time job is quickly becoming full-time hours. So it's been good though. I mean, I've been blessed beyond measure to get there.
Yeah, that's awesome. So Liam, what's your favorite part of the business?
Probably the vendor shows and going to sell it to people.
Yeah.
Do you guys offer tastings at the vendor shows?
We have specific bottles that are made for people to taste. We have a variety of things like we have chips, crackers, and pretzels normally. And if people don't want to have that or they can't have that, then we also have tiny like little spoons that they can put the sauce on and try it.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
And he's the ultimate salesman. He's got the reputation at these vendor shows. Don't go talk to that kid unless you want to buy sauce. So I'll probably let a secret out here though, because he did train with me for like about a year of doing vendor shows. Like he got so mad because like, nope, sit here, listen to me, listen to the facts that I say and like how I approach it. And then once I got him trained up pretty well, I like launched him and said, all right, you go do it. And then I would stop people like, hey, have you tried our sauce before? And they would say no, and like gonna dismiss it. I say, well, hey, my son is training. Would you let him talk to you for a couple minutes? I knew he was trained and he's got it down. And like he talked to him and they leave with 2 bottles of sauce. So like, he's employee of the month when it comes to vendor shows. He's the salesman.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good knowledge to have at your age, young man. That's good. That's really good. How many shows do you guys think you do a year?
And we've kind of scaled back quite a bit, just because the volume of the stores that we have to get to, it's hard to have enough inventory to make it worthwhile to go to a store or to go to a vendor show. But in like November and December when it's like holiday time, we'll go to 2 or 3 a month, in like November, December, and then there'll be random ones throughout the year. Like if it works out, like Saturday, I'll be DJing a wedding, and my wife and the kids are gonna go doing during the golf tournament. So there's a kind of a vendor show there, so they'll be set up there.
That's awesome. It's so cool to hear the whole family's pitching in and getting involved, and
Yeah.
and that's kind of how I envision doing what we're doing. So we'll see how it goes. We've gotten everybody pretty much involved, and I really like to hear that you're using like chips or pretzels or something like that, because that's what we kind of got to was we were buying unsalted potato chips to put our seasoning on so people could taste it.
Oh, yeah.
That's kind of like a big promotion of how we're doing our spice. We're promoting it with chips.
Nice. Yeah, because I was trying to think of how you would do that in like a vendor show, like how, because like putting on a cracker, I'm not sure that would work, but like for us, it sticks to the cracker and it's like a neutral thing. But yeah, on plain potato chips, that's a great idea.
Yeah, tell them where that took us.
Oh, so we reached out to New York Chips, and on August 1st, we're gonna go talk with them and see if we can have a collaboration with our spice with their chips.
Oh wow, that's amazing.
Yeah,
that's very cool.
So it's kind of exciting. You never know how those things will turn out, but
right.
But they do a lot of collaborations with like Anchor Bar and Dinosaur Barbecue and Chicken Speedy, and so we'll give them our powder and throw it on their chip and see what they think.
Right, and it's funny because like if you can get those kind of connections, and unfortunately, I had a similar connection that it was way too early in the game for me to be able to produce, but and the name of the company is escaping me right now, but it's kind of one of those meals to your like delivered to your house deals. Like you get you sign up for like the meal subscription thing, and twice a month they were going to do like a barbecue meal, and they wanted to source local products, and they were based out of Geneva, and I got put in contact with these people, and I don't think I was 6 months in, and I was like, okay. And I went and had a meeting with them. They said, yeah, we definitely want to do something like this. And I said, okay, well, before we get going, I go, what kind of volume are we talking? Because they said they were sending out 1 million meals a month. Ooh. And I went, what do you need? And they said, well, we would probably need like 55-gallon buckets at a time. And I went, okay, let's talk in like a year, and then I think they actually went out of business. So I dodged a bullet there, but I just kind of like, it's cool to like you test your waters and be like, hey, this is a big brand. What can we do together? I'm not ready for that yet, but let's try it. Like, okay, let's try this one now. Like it's just neat to do that kind of stuff. So yeah, that's awesome. I hope that really works out for you guys.
Yeah, we'll see. We kind of like, I failed at a lot of things in my life, and our photo booth business was one thing. I don't think we really failed, but we had the same issue in 2020 with losing a bunch of gigs, and kind of at that point my career had taken off. My daughter's moved out. My son was a little bit too young to do them, and I'm just like, I'm just done working weekends. Yeah. And so we kind of let that go. But I think I've been very hesitant. It's taken me months to get to the point where I don't even have anything to sell yet. We've got, this is our last bottle from our co-packer batch, but we were trying to like, as you were saying, you got to be able to scale quickly if you're going to get in that game. And that's one of the things. And I wouldn't even talk to New York Chip Company if I wasn't using a co-packer up front, because there's no possible way
Right.
that I would be able to provide any bulk seasonings to put on a potato chip for a big, huge run. So
Yeah, they might need like 150 pounds of it or something. And you're like,
yeah,
whoa, wait a minute. Like that's
yeah,
beyond my kitchen, like.
yeah, yeah. And that's kind of why we went that way. It's a little more expensive, I think, in the end.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe, if it gets real big, maybe we bring that back in house. Because I don't think you could do it. Like, I don't think you could put it in Walmart, for example,
Right.
at the cost that I'm paying for the
Oh, right.
bottle. Right.
Yeah,
'Cause
they want to be able to sell it so cheap, and they're only they want like a 35% markup, and they have all these scales that they use for that kind of stuff. And when I've looked into that stuff, it was kind of some secondhand nature, or secondhand information, I guess. Looking at like a Sam's Club or a Walmart and things like that, they also have a lot of regulations that someone like you and I that are just starting out doing these things, we can't absorb the cost that they're expecting. Like if you go to like for Sam's Club, for example, the source I had was very reliable, so I didn't even pursue it, honestly, because they said they're going to expect this many pallets of your sauce, and then they give you X amount of months to sell it, and if you don't, you have to buy it back.
Yeah.
So here you are thinking, oh, wow, I just made $10,000 on this batch of sauce. This is fantastic. Oh, you only sold half of it? Well, here's 5 of it back that I already spent on more ingredients for the next thing, and like, it's just not, we're the little guy like you and I, aren't designed to do that just yet,
Yeah.
But all these companies, I mean, they got their, Danos, or like in your case, or like Sweet Baby Raisin, they all started the same way that we did, and it's just a matter of like the perseverance that you can have, or like, just to withstand that, like, oh, here's another hoop, jump through that. Like, okay, here you go. Like, all right, now let's try this, like, oh, here's a setback. All right, fix it. Like, and as long as you can keep moving forward, and like you talked about failing at different things. I mean, same. Like I've had 3 or 4 business ideas that I thought were these genius ideas, and they're not there anymore. And I tried to do an online wedding planning thing to compete with the Knot and like stuff like that, and like, yeah, that was terrible. Like, we didn't get a single client. Or like, and stuff like that. So like, I think that's what puts us in that position, because I think there's like a general theme to business that says, you have to fail so many times before the business that you're in is successful. So like, very few people are going to jump in, feet first with their first endeavor and be wildly successful, unless it's dumb luck, and, you can make your own luck just by persevering, and trying different things and learning from your mistakes. So I think, like, it sounds like you're on the right path for that, so it's great.
Yeah. It was always one of those things where I always wanted to do something. I've always wanted to have my own product to sell. That wasn't going to get outmoded by technology advancements, or wasn't going to get outmoded by, flash in the pan, cyclical things, fads, trends, like, t-shirt businesses, and, screen printing was a big deal way back in the day. Now it's like you couldn't possibly compete with the online retailer because of the technology, and food seems to be like one of those things where everybody's got a bottle of barbecue sauce in their fridge. Everybody's got a spice bottle in their cupboard, and they always run out. And if they like it, they're going to come back.
Right.
And that's what I love so much about this. And it, I think when I first started thinking about it, I'm like, I want a bottle of spice, really? That's not me. And then I'm like, wait a minute though. I've been working on this thing for 16 years, and I've got validation from other people that they like it, so I had to pursue it. But it's
great.
But it's one of those products, like, it's got staying power, just like what you're doing. And
and like and that's where when in the middle of that pandemic, when I'm sitting there with weekends free, and I was like, well, food doesn't get quarantined, like that should work,
Yeah.
So we gave it a shot, and like I said, I'm sure there was a lot of people that were like glad. Well, I know a lot of people were glad that they came back, but it had been gone long enough where I was kind of split right down the middle. There was like traditionalists like you and I that remember it from back in the day, and they were so excited. Like, and then the other half the people were like, never heard of that, but I'll give yours a try. Like so, like the support for local businesses, especially I think all over, but especially in this area, I think is, it's tremendous. And like I know that I wouldn't be as successful as I am without the people that were like, hey, we'll give it a shot. Yeah, give me I had when I first started, as soon as the first day that I was able to sell it, I had already like batched some stuff up, and I said, hey, it's official. I'm allowed by New York State to sell this stuff. Within a half an hour, I had a friend of mine from high school came in and bought the first. He goes, I heard you. Here you go. I was like, wow. And then it's blown. I mean, everybody were like, we want it. When can we get it? And I almost had like a line out the door the next day. With the outpouring of support. And I think you've been seeing the same thing. You're like, hey, I want to try this business. What do you guys think? And they're like, oh my God, it's so good. We love it. And then they tell and then I know what store you should be in. And then like, they know my cousin is the boyfriend of this girl that runs this store. Talk to them. And I'm like, okay, let's give it a shot. I mean, how do I end up in Mansfield?
Yeah.
It's just that word of mouth is so invaluable, and like that community support from everybody, it's amazing.
Yeah.
But
yeah, it's pretty. We'll see how it goes. We're gonna, like I said, we're gonna do our first batch and see what happens.
Yeah.
You said you do all your production. Do you print your own labels, or do you buy pre-printed labels?
I print them on demand.
Nice.
Yeah, I have a label printer. One came with the business. It was like the Lychee original. Like it came with when I got it from him, and it worked great until about a year and a half in, and then I think the old girl just had seen better days because it was pretty old. That was like the PX like 100 or something like that, and then to upgrade to the newest model, it's the PX 3000. So like we upgraded quite a bit with the same product actually, because I'm thinking, okay, 20 years later, this is still printing pretty crisp labels. The new product's got to be, and it does. It works really well. So yeah, I print on demand, and then like I said, I did that charity golf tournament. I was able to print custom labels. If you want to do like teacher appreciation week, like hey, a legendary teacher, has a label for stuff like that. What? Yeah, it's okay. And then I also did like being in the wedding business. Like I crossed businesses together, and I did it as wedding favors. Like the couple bought it, so it was a personalized bottle. So this couple's legendary, and like had a picture of them, holding a football or something. It was cool. So like having that ability to print my own stuff was huge.
Nice. That's really good. You do all your own design work?
For the most part, yes. My initial I had a little like superhero sauce guy or whatever that came from Fiverr. If you ever use that website or not, and then now with the I try to use AI for good, not evil. And, I'll take my original stuff and I'll put it into Chat GPT or something. Say, hey, make this sauce guy do this.
Yeah.
I like just for this golf tournament. I said, hey, make the sauce guy, wear golfing clothes and hold a club. Yeah.
Those little pictures of me and Dakota are actual pictures that we got converted into cartoons with AI.
Perfect. That's so cool. Yeah. And then and this is where I said like the no zero days comes in. Like I'll spend 3 hours on my computer doing stupid social media stuff. The latest one, I mean, it's on like TikTok and Facebook all over. But I did a fake album compilation. So I said, now this is what I call sauce, and I had AI come up with like 10 different fake songs about barbecue sauce, and like it's hilarious. I mean, it made me laugh so hard, but like it took so much time. It wasn't worth it, but
yeah,
it was worth it for me to, be creative and have some fun with it. But I mean, go check that out. It's funny, but if anything, just to get me a couple more likes or like views just because of the effort it took to do it. But no, like I love using AI now for that kind of stuff. And like, I found an app once that does voiceover stuff. So I have a bunch of fake interviews, like Kevin Hart and The Rock interviewing each other about my sauce.
Oh,
You know,
nice.
it's just, and they're so poorly done on purpose because I don't want to get sued, so, but like,
Yeah.
no, and that's the part I like the most, I think, is like being creative with that kind of stuff and talking to people and like, and I'm sure you've seen the same thing, like there's not a cooler feeling in the world than handing somebody like a chip or a little cup to dip their pretzel in or whatever and watch them take that first taste of your stuff and go, wow, like, and that smile that you created came from your hard work. That's like the coolest feeling in the world. So it makes it so worthwhile to do all this stuff. And I'm sure you're seeing the same thing as you're going along.
Yeah. Yeah, we're starting to see some of that. My nieces and my sister, and they'll send me pictures of the nieces just, lapping it up, putting it on everything, and
Yeah.
and then they're calling me like, we're out, we need more, and it's like, and my daughters especially, they're always making recipes, trying different things and sending me recipes, and so yeah, I get that, and then that is motivation. And actually the motivation for us really came from family, because this blend was developed to try to replicate a recipe, a dry rub wing recipe that I had when I was on the road working, and I loved it so much that I had to try to replicate it. And so I don't know, 16 years ago, how many years ago, I'm kind of tried to make it, and we always made it we'd make a batch once every couple of months or something like that, whenever we're going to make chicken wings, and that's all we ever used it for. And then it just evolved, and then we gave it out to a bunch of family members, and because they were like, oh, I want some of that to take home, and they put it on other stuff, and then they're like, you got to put this on this, and I'm like, really? Wings? It's a wing rub, but it's not. It has a whole different. I'm a cook connoisseur, so I love this stuff, and I've never had anything like it.
Yeah, it's so good.
So
yeah, and I love doing that, like experimenting, and it was funny, like when I did the root beer barbecue, I was like, root beer bar. I was like, it's delicious.
that sounds amazing.
Yeah, well, and it's cool because like a lot of times you get stuff, like, and I won't mention other brands, but there's been a couple other brands that have like, like, oh, it's this barbecue. You're like, okay, I'm not tasting this. Whatever, like they're calling it. It just tastes like barbecue sauce. It's not bad, but it just tastes like blank. And when I did the root beer, I was like, if I'm going to call it root beer sauce, it's going to taste like root beer. So like we went heavy on the root beer. And so you taste it, and it's like, wow, that's root beer. And then the aftertaste, it tastes like barbecue sauce. So you get like the both flavors at once. And everyone's like, oh, I don't know. I said, just try it, and people are like, holy cow. Now, like almost all the places that do wings, once people try the root beer on the root beer barbecue on chicken wings, that's what they order every time now. That's like the number one seller at every wing night is root beer. And like people are like, root beer barbecue wings, like try it, and it's so good. So like nice. I love that, trying new things, like the smoked chipotle lime was the same kind of thing. I've heard of like some other like combinations like that, or whatever, but like the chipotle and the lime, and then I, try to make it as healthy as possible, because I already used the certified pathogen free ingredients and stuff like that. I don't use the high fructose corn syrup. I don't use any of the nonsense. I use the best ingredients for what I can. But even like with that smoke flavor, I get a natural hickory powder instead of using like liquid smoke that a lot of people use and get that chemical taste. It's a natural powder. So like just like the stuff like that, I love being able to provide, the best. Like, is it health food? No. I mean, there's a fair amount of sugar. It's barbecue sauce,
Yeah.
But it's not corn syrup. It's not high fructose. It's not aspartame. It's not all these chemicals. It's pure cane sugar.
Yep.
It's non-GMO brown sugar. It's like you can pronounce every ingredient that I put in there, and I feel good feeding it to my kids. And you talk about like mixing the blends and stuff like that. Liam actually makes his own blend of a couple sauces. What do you do?
I do the hot sauce in the root beer and call it my sweet and spicy sauce because it has the like root beer taste, which makes it taste good. But there's also spice because I love spicy stuff. And I can't have the sauces right now, but I can have one, the hot sauce.
Yeah. Yeah, he's going through some issues, but like, yeah, he puts hot sauce on everything.
Nice.
You know, it's like being able to have stuff that, you know, we can actually feed the kids and not feel bad about.
What's your favorite recipe? Like ribs, you know, what's your favorite?
It used to be pulled pork, but I'm kind of sick of it, if I'm being real, just because a lot of family functions and gatherings, like you got to bring pulled pork. I'm like, oh, you know, and then a couple of the vendor shows, they wanted me to bring food. And like the last vendor show, I think I sold 90 pounds of pulled pork.
Wow.
Like, yeah. And it gets old, you know, like, you know, for like 4 years now, I've been doing this, and that's, I mean, I bet I've done 800 pounds of pork. So I'm a little over that, but even if it's still there, I still eat it because I love it with the root beer sauce. But like, surprisingly enough, one of the biggest hits that I get with the sauce is one of the simplest things ever is deviled eggs. You know, I use my sweet mustard with deviled eggs, and then I use half of it. I'll use hot mustard, and the hot one, I'll put like a pickled jalapeno slice on top of the deviled eggs. And I recently was, and I won't mention names again because I gotta still be friendly with some of these people, whatever. But at a wedding, very fancy venue, very fancy catering, they had deviled eggs. I was like, oh, nice. You know, I haven't had a regular deviled egg in a while. I didn't even eat the whole thing. It was like all vinegary, and I was like, what is this? You know, and like, because I'm used to mine. You know, now, I mean, I played poker a couple weeks ago with a couple guys. There's probably like 7 of us. I took 2 dozen deviled eggs. Half of them were with the sweet mustard, half were with the hot mustard. They were gone in 4 minutes. Like, wow. So like it's, actually, I put the recipe right on there.
That sounds awesome. I love deviled eggs.
Yeah, and then I like doing chili. Like the one vendor show, I sold 10 gallons of chili, and I tell everyone how to make it because use my sauce. You know, like I call it barbecue chili. You know, I use the plainest tomato paste, some ground beef, a variety of beans, and one of the varieties I use like Bush's baked beans, so it gives it that barbecue flavor a lift. And then I use my spicy barbecue for all the spices that we need for the chili, and then I don't add any external spices. It's just my sauce that does it, and I sold 10 gallons of it.
Wow, that's awesome.
So, no, I love doing that, you know, and like coming up with different recipes, you know, like, you know, armadillo eggs and like, you know, that kind of stuff, and like shotgun shells where you take, you know, like the whatever those round pasta shells are, you know, that you fill it with like a sausage and then wrap it in bacon and dip it in my sauce, and you know, like chicken wing dip, you know, is always a big hit at a lot of family stuff or whatever. But for me, it's always the same. It's like that, you know, like it's just crazy spicy, like with a, you know, bland hot sauce. It's just hot. So like we start making it with my hot sauce that actually has flavor, not just heat. And then what I've been doing is I make a plain chicken wing dip. You know, I do like cream cheese and some celery and like garlic and stuff like that, but I leave it unsauced. And then I put bottles of my sauce out front. So you grab a serving of it, like, oh, I want some root beer chicken wings. I want some, you know, spicy barbecue. You know, I want, you know, like maybe I want misery. You know, maybe I want just original barbecue. You know, like I have the variety, which I guess, I mean, everyone could do that, but I mean, I have a little bit more luxury with that to put all the sauces out. But, you know, like just to mix it up a little bit.
Yeah, that's cool. That's wild. Nice. We'll have to get together sometime and have a dinner or cookout or something.
Yeah, I'm in.
Just to check things out, because I have not I've not bought your sauce.
Oh,
the
man.
the last sauce
we were friends.
What's that?
I thought we were friends. You know?
It's just you know, last time I literally, I think there was one point when Leachy was doing this, that we were helping him build a website or something, and I tried to help him sell it at one point, and so I had a bunch of it here for a while, and yeah, it was great. We used it on a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
And then I think he stopped selling it or something happened. Plus I moved, I was born and raised in Bath,
Right.
and we moved away in 2001. And, to be honest, we're only 20 miles away, but I never get over there.
Right. Yeah.
I just
Yeah.
never
If you
get
don't have a
there.
reason to come here, 20 miles is, it's an eternity.
Yeah. Yep. So you said you're in Tops, I heard, right?
Right.
Now, is that in all Tops or just the local stores?
Local. I'm in Bath, Corning, Big Flats, and Penn. And I'm certified to be in all Tops, but it goes by distribution and manager approval. Honestly, like I go in and do a sales pitch to the manager and say, "Hey, I think you should carry my sauce," and he like decides on the spot like if he wants to carry it or not. But I'm in the system, like all the barcodes and all that stuff, and that was a cool thing. Like with Leachy, he had all that stuff, and I got grandfathered in with like GS1 to get the barcodes and all that, the things that came along with that. So um that was cool. But yeah, like the process to get into Tops, it's kind of painstakingly difficult,
Mm-hmm.
but I think it's by design. Like they want to say like, hey, are you going to jump through all these hoops we tell you to, or are you going to be a flash in the pan that's not going to stick with this, and then we're stuck. Like so. I think they purposefully made it very difficult. Like the paperwork took months because you'd fill out like 40 pages of every detail you can possibly think of, and then like, oh, you forgot question 27. Can you clarify that? Start over. I'm like, wait a minute. Like, so I said, I think they made it difficult on purpose,
Mm-hmm.
but I understand why, because, you go to a farmer's market, how many people are selling jams and, like their version of whatever. And if you don't have all the stuff that New York State requires, which is a lot, like you were talking in the beginning, you have to have the certified kitchen. You have to have, like for me, I'm not sure if it's the same for spices, but for me, I had to go through Cornell and get certifications to be certified to actually make my sauce,
Yeah.
and that's where I struggle with like production stuff is because, unless the person has that same certification as me, they can't be here making sauce. So like
Yeah.
my wife is half owner of the business, and she can't come in and make sauce unless I'm here to supervise. So it's me doing the majority of it because unless I'm here, you can't do it. And if I'm here, I might as well just do it. So
Yeah.
you know, with the DJ business, I'm able to have people come in. I can edit music and do different things on like a production day while someone's in the kitchen and I'm in my office kind of part, So we can get around it a little bit, but for the most part, the lion's share is on me because I'm the one with the certification, and that's required, and then all the little things like insurance and the different things and they're right on top of it. I know like, they'll send me a notification saying that, hey, your insurance is going to expire on this date. Can you resend your policy numbers? And I'll get that before my insurance company says, hey, you're about to expire. Before I know I have to renew, Tops is telling me. So they they're on ball with that kind of stuff.
Nice. Yeah, that there is nothing easy about any of this.
Oh,
it's it sounds easy when you just like think about it, but when you're in it, it's not easy.
right.
It's been a battle all the way through to get just to this point. And like I said, I'm 1,800 down, and I don't even have a bottle of spice that I could sell legally, right? Because I got to wait now for the labels to get to the co-packer, and then the co-packer to actually do the blend and bottle everything up. But yeah, I can't print my own labels using a co-packer because it has to be on a roll with a 3-inch core, and it's got to be right tear off, and it's there's just so many like little things that you would just never know. And then we made a mistake already, like because at one point I'm like, I'm gonna bottle my own stuff, so I bought this hand crank hand labeling machine,
Yep.
and it won't even work with these bottles.
Oh
It'll
man.
only work with like a barbecue sauce bottle or a wine bottle because the rollers are flat, and these things have like a ridge,
Oh wow. Yeah.
so you can't. So I could probably 3D print like a roller cover spacer that would work, but I'm like, wasted that money.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
with us, I mean, we hand label everything. Like we have basically a template, like a block of wood that has like movable stuff that like
Yeah.
sets and then every label is done by hand.
Yeah.
And when we did the one time we did use a co-packer just to kind of get through, like it was last summer. They sent us stuff and like all the boxes were labeled of what kind of sauce it was, but I printed all the labels here and then we labeled the boxes as they,
Oh,
and
yeah.
so I mean like that might be something for you to look into if you can, and we can talk afterwards. I can send you what I have and see if it's something that would work for you. Because it's not, but
I think I saw it in one of the pictures, and that's like a famous wooden label template machine, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm sure it's well known. So yeah.
Yeah, I think I saw it. Yeah, because I think maybe your daughter was putting the labels on or something.
Yeah,
Something
that
on your
could be. Yeah.
website.
Yep. Yeah. We try to get like, that social media part, you got to film everything you can,
Oh yeah.
so, but yeah. So we do stuff like that. And I don't know if it would work for you or it might not, it might just be easier to do what you're doing, send it to them how they need it,
Yeah, we have since we're trying to do this mostly online, I think our next phase will probably be to do FBA with Amazon. Right now, I don't want to do that because you lose all your customer control, and there's a lot of disadvantages from getting that grassroots effort out. And I'll probably do both. I'll probably have my own website and then also have Amazon, just because of that. Because like subscriptions are a lot easier with your own stuff, and loyalty programs and those kind of things you just
Right.
can't do with Amazon. But I think in the end, to the customer, because shipping's included with your Amazon stuff,
Right.
you end up paying for the shipping through the fees to Amazon. So as long as I can get the margin down to accommodate that difference, then that's where we'll go. But we got to get volume to get to that point.
Right. Yeah. Cause I've half-heartedly look into Amazon, and and that is one of the upsides is, like for the customer, they don't have to pay as much for shipping. Cause like right now when I ship stuff out, to me, I think the shipping cost is astronomical,
It's $5.
Yeah.
Right.
For you,
$5 a bottle. It's
Wow.
actually, well, for these, it's a little less than that.
right. See, cause like the best, when I first started, I think I did a Facebook post that said small businesses, what companies do you use for shipping? And there's all these well, actually the one I use is Pirate Ship. And they give you, it's like 15% off the retail price or whatever for shipping. And so they but like even that, it's like, I find out how many bottles I can fit in this package, and like, it does you better to do bulk or whatever. But like even still, I think the one I did today, 4 bottles, you had it on $10 for shipping, and that's getting a deal from, like I can get it cheaper than, the post office or whatever, but still like now if you're buying 1 bottle, it's still $10, like,
Oh yeah.
so like, okay, so now you're going to pay $16 for a bottle of sauce. No one's going to do that. You might as well buy 4,
Yeah. That's where
like,
the bundles come in,
yeah,
and gift packs and whatever else. But you got to watch that too, because I don't have to pay sales tax on this right now. But if I start putting products in there that are taxable, then I do.
yeah.
Yeah.
And that's why I like to be able to do like the vendor shows and stuff like that, and do like a variety pack for a discounted rate, or like, Christmas time. I have Christmas boxes, and like I'll display those and say like, hey, this makes a great gift. Like here's yes, good stocking stuffers. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like, and like stuff like that. And like so many people, like we've been there enough years now, like people come in a beeline right to our booth, just, like, all right, I need 3 cases of this and 2 cases. I'm like, holy crap, you just took all my inventory. But they, like, there's one guy, he does it every year. He comes and buys cases at a time, and he has a bunch of employees, and he gives every employee like a bottle of sauce for Christmas. Like that's part of like his package or whatever. So he'll come buy 2 cases at a time. And luckily he tells me ahead of time, but yeah, that's what you're saying, like that, do it to be able to keep that personal touch and like have that connection with, with your customers. And like right now, like I said, shipping is, it's not overwhelming. It's enough where I can, if the order comes in tonight, it'll be in the mail tomorrow. I can do that 99% of the time. And I see the people and I can write them a little note, I can do, and it's that personal touch where you go to Amazon, you're going to lose that stuff. And maybe you increase sales, maybe you don't, but you definitely lose that touch, and, what is it worth? Is it worth making a little bit less money and having like that relationship with people and like, or is it all about money? It's like, I guess it's your prerogative, but
Right.
like for me, like I want to blend that, I like having, like that, like the face of the sauce in the community and like people, like when people come up to me in the store and say, "Oh my God, I love this stuff," and like they know who I am and I have no idea who they are, like, or, you know, when I'm stocking shelves and like people are grabbing bottles off, like as I'm stocking it, I'm like, "Oh, nice," like, I love this stuff, and and then I tell them that I'm the one that makes it, and they're like, "No, wait," I'll shoot myself in the foot a little bit because now I'm spending 20 extra minutes while they tell me everything to make it. But
Yeah.
it's such a cool thing, though. I would never trade that for the world.
Yeah, that's money, It's not money, but it's value.
Yeah.
And it's, that's awesome.
Mhm.
Nice. Do you have any questions?
You kind of stole some of my
Oh, I'm
questions.
sorry. I talked too much.
No, you're good.
Yeah. Well, I think
So,
Liam can relate to you, Dakota, because he's like, "Oh, my dad just talks all the time. Didn't get a word in edgewise, right, bud?"
Yeah. Nice. So that's cool, man. I really love the story, and like I said, it just when we started to do this, you were one of the first people I thought of. I'm like, I wonder how they're doing.
Mhm.
And so I kind of stalked you a little bit, but do you want to
You're the one. No.
what do you want to plug your website, socials real quick? We'll probably be able to put them on the description when we post this to YouTube and Facebook.
Sure.
I actually just launched the Core Spices page.
Yeah, I saw. I liked it right before we got on here.
Nice. Yeah, I just literally launched it today because I wanted to share this video on that page.
Mhm.
And then, so we can get some synergy out of it.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, and
Traction
like
on
once
it,
it's
yeah.
up, we'll share it too. But no,
Nice.
like the website, I mean, it just follow the name. It's legendarysupersauce.com, and you can order online there. And it has a store locations, it has facts and like all kinds of stuff. Like talks about Lychee starting it, and it gives that history, and then there's a couple little things like you talk about like bundles and stuff. Like last year I had the idea and no one took me up on it, but it's still up there because I think it's funny. Like the sauce of the month club, there's a little nod to Christmas vacation, the jelly of the month club,
Mm-hmm.
like you can sign up for your friend for the sauce of the month club, and you know I'll ship them a bottle of sauce every month, but um with the shipping cost, it's a little expensive, so I don't blame people for doing it. But it's more for my entertainment than anything. But yeah, on there's all kinds of stuff. Like I said, you can order, like local pickup, or I can ship it to you. And then social media. I mean, you can find me on Facebook. I think there might be an Instagram page, but I don't do anything with it, and it's just connected to the Facebook page. So if I post stuff on Facebook, I think it automatically goes to Instagram.
Yeah, we got the same thing. Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't know. I gotta get over there because I know that that's like the new wave of social media, I guess. Well, not new. It's new to me because I'm old, but
Yeah.
like that's where the cool kids are at is Instagram, I guess. So
Yeah.
you got to get better on that. But I think there might be a page on there, but Facebook is the way to go there. And then TikTok, I post a lot of the funny videos on there, but that's kind of a shared account. That's just under my name, Jerry Karns. But it has DJ stuff and sausage, so it's a little bit of mix. Once in a while, some personal crap too, just because stuff that makes me entertained, I put it up there. And a lot of times, it's the social media stuff that I spend way too much time creating and hope people enjoy it. But like it's funny. Like I did one voiceover thing with King of the Hill. Like Hank Hill saying like the best propane accessory is legendary super sauce. Like it's a terrible voiceover. it's got like 37,000 views. I'm like, how is this one? Like, this is the one that took off. But they're so stupid, but they make
God
me
damn
laugh.
it, Bobby.
Yeah. And then I get somebody goes, damn it, Bobby. Everybody knows, and like, and then like Dale going, I just wish we had some legendary super songs. Like it's the dumbest video you'll ever watch, but that one took off. But then like I spent time I did like a Dr. Seuss book or whatever. You can eat sauce on a log and watch a frog lick a brisket or something. Like it was all rhyming stupid stuff. Like dump it on a chicken riding on a train, and like that one's got like 50 views. It's like, wait a minute, that one was actually clever. This one's, but no. So that one, I mean, if you go on TikTok, you can find some stuff on there. It's mostly there's not a whole lot of product stuff. It's just social media stuff.
What? My phone?
Yeah.
Why?
I'll find it.
He's gonna stalk you right now.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
Jerry Karns on TikTok.
If you can crack the algorithm, man, we need to talk because we can't.
Yeah. No.
We've got our most popular video is just the stupidest thing. It's like
nearly got a million views.
It's almost got a million views, and it's just that they had that NPC trend. I don't know if people acting like video game characters.
Okay.
And I did that, and I walked out my door and opened the smoker. That's it. Almost a million views. I'm like, are you freaking kidding me?
Yeah.
Like,
it's so funny, I mean, and I gotta pick his brain a little bit more because he's done some of the voiceovers for me actually on the TikTok videos, because I like that, and like that gets some traction too. But like, he probably knows more about like social media trends and everything that I do. I mean, he knew what you were talking about. I didn't, so like, he's probably watched your video and didn't know it, but no, we gotta, it's weird, like what hits and what doesn't. You think, oh, this is gonna be perfect, and they're like, nope. I think I average like between like 500 and 1,000 views, like on stuff like that, and then throughout the course of a week, all my posts and stuff, I get about 22,000 impressions a week. So I mean, people are looking at the stuff. It's just not a lot of interactions.
Yeah. Yep.
But yeah, it's fun though. But yeah, like you talked about though, like people think you own your own business, you got it made. No, we give up your 9 to 5 to go work whatever 80 hours you want to work that week.
Yeah.
You can choose them though, so but there is freedom though in owning your own business, and I'm fortunate to own two. And I can make my own schedule. If I want to, I mean, the DJ business, I got to block out almost 2 years in advance if I want to go do something, but, or we do it in the middle of the week. But like, if I don't want to work, I just don't work that week. I'll catch up next week, orders will wait, we're on vacation and we'll see when we get back, and, so there is that freedom, I don't have to ask my boss for time off. I'm just going to take it because I am my boss, but there is the stress that comes along with it because there's unknown,
Oh yeah.
The DJ business has been very successful for a few years, and then all of a sudden the world shut down, and I went, whoa, wasn't ready for that, So,
Yeah.
And like the different trends, I've seen trends happening in the barbecue world. It was you got to sauce it, and then I think you're hitting the right stride right now because there's more of a trend to go towards dry rubs. People want that dry rub and then sauce it when it's done, not come pre-sauced. So like I think there's a blend that's going to be happening here, and like the ebbs and flows of this business. You just kind of got to ride it out and see like how you adapt and change and do those things. And I think our businesses, like it's not like we're competitors, but like we complement each other well. And even if we were, one of the things that I saw, like a quote that I saw that I subscribe to with everything is, you can't compete with me because I want you to win too. And like I think if everyone had that mindset, like, hey, like I know other DJs and I send them business whenever I'm booked. I'm like, hey, go try this guy, call this guy, like let's get everyone booked. There's enough jobs to go around. Oh, you don't like my sauce? Maybe try this. Oh, you don't really like sauce? hey, let's go try Jason's dry rub. Like
Yeah.
he's got a product there too. Then you don't have that saucy fingers that you don't like. That stuff works together, man. And like,
I'm already feeling a rib collab with that root beer, buddy.
oh yeah, I'm in. Let's do it.
Yeah, I'm feeling that because we the last time we did ribs, we didn't really like the barbecue sauce that we used. The ribs were nice, they were cooked good, but yeah, well,
Yeah,
I think that might.
sauce. It sucks that when sauce ruins your, like all that hard work. Because it's not like you just throw some ribs in and then you're seeing 20 minutes. It's
Yeah.
like 6 hours later, and like you put all this time and effort into it, and then
Yeah,
oh man, this sauce ruined it.
yeah, because you don't put the sauce on to the end, yeah, or at least
Right.
I don't.
No, yeah, no, and well, you can kind of do a little. I mean, I do a little bit of both. Like, there's a video. We went on a guy's camping retreat last year, and we did ribs over an open fire, and you can see in the video, it's like they're cooking, and then like they're all right, here's a layer of sauce, and let that caramelize on top over the open fire, and then like
Much
cook for a
different.
couple more hours, and then do this,
Yeah.
and then when we were all done, like lathered it. I was like, oh, this is, and they turned out really. Then we use the smoked chipotle lime for that, and that's really good on ribs too. But like, you could even do like, 2 big racks and do half and half. Like,
Yeah,
but you won't be disappointed with either one. But yeah, I'm in. I mean, we got to get the families together, have a cookout, do something.
yeah, absolutely. That's cool. Nice. Well, we've been rolling here for about a little over an hour, so
Yeah.
I really
Well, I
appreciate.
know that I'm a talker, so once I get going,
I know,
start-
I know. I appreciate you. You're wanting to come on and talk to us, and maybe we'll do it again or something if anything changes. It'd be nice to do an update in a year and see where we're at.
For sure. Yeah, I'm in.
Yeah. So.
No. What about you? Want to do it again? All right.
Yeah. All right.
Very cool.
Anything else you guys want to talk about? Dakota, Liam, you guys good? Play Fortnite, Rocket League, anything like that?
Fortnite.
Yeah.
Fortnite. Okay.
You guys should exchange names on Fortnite or something. He's pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah. We haven't
Good
played.
compared to him.
Well, everyone's good compared to me, but
Me too. We played. We streamed for a while.
I think we did like streaming for almost like year and a half, I think.
That's where most of our followers came from. Actually, was our streams.
Yeah.
okay.
Fortnite mostly. But
Yeah, he tries to show me, and I'm like, okay, slow down. Like what? Like which one makes me jump? Like I'm terrible.
My mom just dies in the storm if I try to play with her.
Yeah,
Every time.
yeah. So but he zips around like he gets all the victory royales and all that stuff, whatever. So, you guys might actually have fun if you guys play. I mean, he'll have someone to challenge him or whatever.
Right now, I have 65, I think, this season.
nice.
Yeah, Fortnite's his
Yeah.
forte.
Nice.
Nice.
But yeah,
Very cool. I haven't played in a long time.
We haven't played in a minute.
Yeah.
I haven't played because I've been making this stuff,
right.
figuring all this stuff out, design work and everything else. So
And I've just been buying new games.
Yeah,
Oh gosh.
but very cool. Well, we appreciate you having us on. Get to talk about sauce is always a good day for me.
yeah, appreciate
Yes.
it. And we're looking forward to trying your sauce. And if we can do some kind of collab, that'd be cool too. I'll be in touch with you.
Yeah,
And if you need anything from me, just reach out. You know how to get me.
sounds great.
All right, appreciate it. Thanks a lot. Nice to meet you guys.
Nice to meet you. Yeah,
Hey,
have a good
guys.
one.
See
All
ya.
right, see ya.